The space race was a competition to explore space between the United States and Soviet Russia. It started when the Russians started to create rockets, other new space technology, and launched their first space mission, called Sputnik, in 1957. Sputnik was the first artificial satellite to orbit Earth. The Soviet Union sent it into orbit on October 4th of 1957. Sputnik would orbit the Earth every 96 minutes, and once this mission was successful, the USSR would then end up launching Sputnik 2 a month after, on November 4th. Sputnik 2 consisted of the same ideas as the first. However, this time they sent a dog on board into the satellite to test what would happen to the living subject. The dog was named Laika, and ever since Laika, animals have played a very important role in rocket science. In the early days of the space race, no one knew the effects of weightlessness or of the atmosphere in space. Therefore, they had put animals, mainly dogs, chimps, and monkeys, into space in order to see the effects of what would happen. Following Sputnik 2, the United States tried to make a comeback in the competition to space by launching their very own satellite, called Vanguard. However, during the launching of this mission, the satellite failed in a launch pad explosion, making the United States' first mission to space a failure. Despite their loss on the Vanguard, the United States once again tried to launch a satellite into space, this time on January 1st, 1958. The satellite, called the Explorer, ended up being successful, and would then end up being America's first venture into space. Along with the invention of the Explorer, President Eisenhower signed a public order in 1958 creating the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, more commonly known as NASA. Almost exactly a year later, both countries were still competing in the journey to outer space, and Russia had just sent their spacecraft Luna 3 around the moon, being the first spacecraft to do so. The United States continued to reach milestones as they climbed to new heights in space. On August 18th of 1960, they received photographs of the moon from the U.S. Corona spy satellite. However, Russia continued to be one step ahead, as they were able to send the first man into space on April 1st of 1961. His name was Yuri Gagarin, and he traveled in the Vostok 1 spacecraft. America then followed up with the second man into space, Alan Shepard, on the spacecraft Freedom 7. After these miraculous travels to space, it became certain that there was one goal that would satisfy the entire operation. On May 25, 1961, President Kennedy announced his goal to reach the moon.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
After the infamous space race came to a close in the mid-70s, the politicians and the public of both the United States and the Soviet Union lost interest, until recently. While the occasional orbiter has launched to survey the moon since then, in more than 42 years, only one spacecraft touched down softly on the lunar surface, China's Chang'e 3 in 2013. Later this year comes the 50th anniversary of the first Apollo moon landing, where 2 more moon missions are planned, one by India and another by China. Recently, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine announced that the NASA Space Agency intends to partner with the private sector to land an American spacecraft on the moon as early as this year. NASA's interest in sending more men and women to the moon this year is not the only modern interest in space exploration shown recently. In April of 2019, scientists captured the first image of a black hole in our solar system. The EHT, which is the Event Horizon Telescope, used a network of 8 ground-based telescopes across the world to collect data and produce the image of the black hole. The black hole lies 55 million light years away from us, which makes this discovery astronomical. All in all, the space race gave Americans a sense of nationalism during the 50s and 60s, while also beginning the ongoing progression of technological advancements. Exploring space would have seemed completely impossible less than a century ago, but yet again obtaining evidence proving the existence of black holes seemed impossible just a few weeks ago. Maybe soon we'll be building condos on Mars and befriending extraterrestrial life. Anything is possible with the scientific dedication that America is proud to uphold.